My team and I just came in from door knocking, and this is the headline that we just found out. It's being reported in the Globe and Mail, and this is from about 18 minutes ago, that Ottawa is blocking the RCMP on the SNC-Lavalin inquiry. Now, of course, that headline should read, Trudeau's Liberal government is blocking the RCMP on the SNC-Lavalin inquiry. But this is hot off the press on the eve of the election call, which is supposed to be scheduled for tomorrow morning. Now, you can read this story in the Globe and Mail, and it says that the RCMP has in fact been looking into potential obstruction of justice in the handling of the prosecution of SNC-Lavalin Group. Now, of course, the obstruction of justice that they're referring to in this article is what has been the subject of discussion in Ottawa for the last 6 months, and that's the allegation that Justin Trudeau and senior cabinet ministers used their influence, or were influenced allegedly by SNC-Lavalin, to try and influence Jody Wilson-Raybould, the then Attorney General, to interfere with independent decisions made by the Director of Public Prosecutions. So, you'll remember that in the House of Commons, we've been asking Justin Trudeau directly over and over again, have any members of your office or anyone in the broader PMO been contacted by the RCMP with regard to an inquiry? And what it says here in this article is that the RCMP have been, quote, its examination has been stymied by the federal government, read Justin Trudeau's government, refusal to lift cabinet confidentiality for all witnesses. This means individuals involved in this matter cannot discuss events or share documents with police that have not been exempted from the rule of cabinet confidentiality. Here's the other thing. It says that because the election is going to be called tomorrow morning, we were all wondering today why Trudeau would be calling the election on September the 11th. It says the RCMP has a policy to suspend politically sensitive operations during campaigns. Isn't it interesting that the Globe and Mail was sitting on this story, that they were about to break it, and then all of a sudden Trudeau out of the blue decides to call the election several days early tomorrow morning on September the 11th. This is what we're up against, people. If you're watching this and you voted Liberal, this man has lost the moral authority to govern. Your party should have turfed him a long time ago. Now it's up to us, Canada. Tomorrow the election will be called. This sort of stuff, this sort of stymieing of investigation, this belief that there are people in this country that are above the law, that, you guys, there's so many fine lines that separate our country, our democracy, our pluralism. We might have differences, but there's lines you can't cross, regardless of your political stripe. And this is the sort of stuff that you see in countries like Venezuela, right? There are so many people in Canada who have come to our country to flee this sort of junk that's happening because of Justin Trudeau. And tomorrow the election starts. This one is for all the marbles. Justin Trudeau cannot be given another term to govern. You need to get out tomorrow and you need to volunteer on a Conservative campaign. Seriously, guys. Many of you will write into my office and you'll have this concern or that concern or say, why aren't you doing more? I'm sitting in my campaign office here. I am going to be here for another 3 or 4 hours. I've got team members that are out calling. I've been out all night door knocking. I am going to be working as hard as I have, 10 times harder over the next 40 days. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you have never volunteered on a campaign, now is the time. Get out and knock on a door. If you've never made a phone call for a candidate, this is the time. Get out and campaign. This is on you. This is a team effort. I'm going to fight. I need you to get behind me. Phone your local Conservative candidate. Get out and volunteer for them. The other thing is, we need your financial support, you guys. I've got to pay for, food for my volunteers, gas to put in trucks to take my signs out. I have 45,000 houses in my community alone that I need to get literature to. That all costs money. We're not We can't, and rightly so, we shouldn't be taking corporate donations. That's a great thing in Canada. And I think a lot of people think that these things fund themselves. They come from support like you. Please donate at cpcmichelle.ca. That money goes to my local campaign. It helps my team do the work here as I'm fighting for you, for my community, and for every Canadian. Come on, you guys. Let's get this done. Think about this. This is the headline going into a federal election campaign, that the RCMP has been looking into potential obstruction of justice with regard to handling the prosecution of SNC-Lavalin Group, but that its examination has been stymied, and that the election is conveniently being called tomorrow morning because we know the RCMP has a policy to suspend politically sensitive operations during the campaign. Let's give these guys the boot. Come on, giddy up. Working hard for you in Calgary and across the country for the next 40 days. Have a great day.